What's going on, guys? Maxwell Pearce here, Harlem Globetrotter, artist, athlete, activist. I'm here talking with my guy Liam today, and I'm excited to have this discussion. It's long overdue, bro.
Yes, yes, it is. Thank you so much for joining me today. Now, like you were saying, activist, globetrotter, philanthropist, got that one. So many different titles for you. But first, if you don't mind, we'll talk about your time playing basketball, and I'm taking you back to your college days at Purchase. You wanna talk me through those 3 years there, and the journey of playing college basketball, coming up from high school, and kind of just I don't know what your path was, what your life was like then.
Yeah. So I actually transferred. I think the appropriate place to start is high school.
Sure.
Went to two high schools. I'm from a small town called Tuckahoe,
Mhm.
but most of my friends coming out of middle school went to Iona Prep, which is a really big private Catholic school for sports in our area. So I went there for 3 years, and my teammates there were one of them is Ty Jerome. He currently
Mhm.
plays for the Warriors,
Yeah.
and another one is Matt Ryan, who currently plays for the Timberwolves. He played for the Lakers for a little bit. But anyway, so they're both really good and they've been really good. And so I think as an undersized guard, for me, it was really hard to get the exposure that I was looking for. So that was one of the reasons why I ended up transferring out of Iona and I went to Tuckahoe High School, which is the public school in the village that I'm from. And that's kind of how I was able to get more college looks. And ultimately, that landed me in Fredonia for my freshman year of college. So I went there, Fredonia State, for 1 year. And I love my teammates. I love, the coaching staff. I just didn't like the environment. I think being in Western New York, it didn't have as much to offer as I was used to coming from Westchester County and being 30 minutes from the city.
Mhm.
So I didn't end up staying there and I transferred to Purchase College and finished my college career at Purchase. So I would say my first year and a half at Purchase was a little bit of an adjustment because they didn't have the major that I was looking for. And then somewhere, and I think it was this my summer after my sophomore year, that's when social media became a thing for me. And that's when I started to leverage it, or leverage my athletic abilities on social media. So I guess that's an appropriate description of how I went from my high school days up until getting to Purchase.
When did the social media aspect of Maxwell Pearce and kind of
Yeah.
the brand side, when did that start to form? Walk me through that, and then kind of how it escalated to being like this big brand and business and so many
Yeah,
different uh, ventures and things inside of that.
for sure. So it started with one viral video that wasn't planned. It definitely wasn't planned, but basically we were playing pickup at the park one summer night and I dunked. We were all trying to dunk on each other and everybody dunked on each other at least once. And so some reason we were all like, let's do another round of that. So the second time I tried to up it and I went and I did a windmill dunk on one of my best friends. And
Was that the one Kobe reacted to?
yeah,
Okay, because I got a couple of your dunks here. There's so many, and that I want to
yeah,
talk about the notable ones.
yeah, for sure, for sure. But yeah, this was the video that kicked everything off for
So
me.
that's what
And
got it started.
that's what got it started. And
Okay.
basically, like once it happened, I didn't know that people were recording. So um in my head, I'm like, oh no, like I don't want this video to go viral because that's my man's. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to embarrass my friend.
Yeah,
And
just
so
playing around at the park.
right. And so I'm thinking like only one person had a copy of that video. So I go home that night, and the next morning I woke up and one of my friends, AJ Church, posted it without like any of us knowing. It was the number two trending video on Twitter that day. It was the craziest thing I've ever experienced, like social media wise.
So you didn't even like kind of plan for that or try to get it
No,
to go viral. You didn't literally you didn't even do anything yourself. You just
no, I
played
didn't. I didn't
basketball, went
want
to
it to
bed,
be
woke up, and it
posted.
was kind of like there for you already. You just
Yeah, I didn't post it originally. Like I didn't want it to be posted again because that's my friend, and I didn't
yeah,
want him to be on like the butt end of a viral clip.
yeah.
So
Did you just have like 18,000 like
my
notifications, whatever, when you woke up though? You're
my
like, what the
phone
hell? It's not my
turned
birthday.
off. Right. My phone turned off and everything. It was overheating. It was ridiculous. So um like, and it was so bad that like Sports Center reached out, and I didn't even know that they reached out because it just drowned in all of the
Yeah.
notifications. And I didn't realize that they reached out for that clip until a whole year later. Um, but anyways, so that was like the birth of my social media presence. And
Mhm.
then I was like blown away by the power that one video could have. And I was like, let's just try to keep doing it again. So along the way, there have been some really big videos. Just to what you pointed out, that video, I'll give you the backstory on how it ended up being in front of Kobe. It
Sure.
wasn't supposed to be on Kobe's episode.
Okay.
So when that video was put out,
So I
the
assume that you knew that it was going to be used for the
yeah,
show at some point or
so
whatever.
so they ridiculousness reached out maybe like a
Yeah.
month after that video.
Okay.
That video happened in 2016.
Okay.
So my brother and I flew all the way out to LA because
Mhm.
they said that it was going to be featured on the episode with DJ Mustard.
Okay.
So we get there, we sit front row, watch the whole episode. They did not use the video. So I'm like torn because I'm like, this was an awesome experience. Like I got to sit front row with my brother for an episode of Ridiculousness.
Yeah.
But they didn't use my clip that I came all the way out here for. Paid like we paid our money. They didn't fly us
Okay.
out.
Yeah. That was my next one. That was going to ask. Yeah.
So I
That's
was
a
that was kind
New
of a
York, LA. That's literally cross country. That's
cross country.
as far as it
So
gets.
um yeah, it was kind of a bummer. And then for about 3.5 years go by, and my friend DJ texted me. He's like, "Yo, like, Kobe just reacted to your clip," and I'm like, "Wait, huh?" I'm not really thinking anything of it.
Mhm.
Oh no, actually no, I'm messing up the order. First, my aunt texted me and she was like, "Yeah, I just saw your video on ridiculousness. Kobe reacted to it." I'm like, "Kobe, she must not know who Kobe is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe they just like edited it in because they didn't use it."
Mhm.
So they put it into the DJ Mustard episode somehow. And then my friend DJ texted me. He's like, "Yo, Kobe just reacted to your video." I'm like, "I need you to send me the clip. Like, let me know what episode it is." And sure enough, they used it on Kobe's episode. So much better. No disrespect to DJ Mustard, but so much better that it
Oh
was
yeah, of course.
Kobe's episode than DJ Mustard. So yeah, I think that's probably out of all the videos, that's probably my second favorite of my
Mhm.
in my social media career.
Sure. So they didn't tell you or anything that they just were doing that. They just kind of like kept it in the vault for 3 years or what, four, whatever it was. You
For
kind of
like over 3 years, they just
yeah,
kept.
yeah. I'm sure you forgot about it at that point, and then you're
I
like,
forgot, and
what?
that's why I was so confused when they said it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
How did you get the idea, going back to the basketball, becoming a Globetrotter, and when did that opportunity kind of come about
Um,
after college?
Great question because I left out an important part of my college career that kind of gives context to this.
Sure.
So end of my senior, no, my junior year at Purchase,
Hmm.
the sports information director, he had some friend who was looking for a talent for the college dunk contest. And by then, my name was kind of getting out there for like the social media dunks. And so he got his email and he was like, Max, I think you'd be a great fit for this. Like, you're a good dunker, and they're looking for like people to fill, I mean, for people to try out for this dunk contest. So I was like, yeah, submit my name. And when they submitted me, the committee was like, sorry, we're only looking for seniors. So I was like, oh, I gotta wait another year until senior year. And I don't know if they're like that, if there'll still be a spot for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
So senior year comes around, and now I have to enter this process where it's called the dark horse dunk competition, where basically I have to get voted in nationally.
Uh,
And it's 4 rounds of voting for a whole month straight. So long story short, I got the whole like school to vote for me. I was like using my social media to help get votes and
mhm.
everything.
Making like 89,000 different emails.
It was no, it wasn't like that, because you didn't have to make an email to vote. You just needed,
Okay.
you could only vote on one device
Okay,
per.
I got you.
So ended up getting into that and went into the college contest, and I had a good showing.
Mhm.
Didn't win, but I made all my dunks first try. Nate Robinson was an inspiration of mine, and he was a judge, so that was cool. And then the Globetrotters were watching, and so
Okay.
that's legitimately how I was, I guess, discovered by the Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh,
It was that college dunk contest. So once they called my school and left a message for me, and I got back to campus, they were like, my school was like, you should call back this number. So I called them back, and as soon as I did the private workout, they were like, we'd love to have you on this team. And 5 years, that was 5 years ago at this point. So it's crazy how time has flown. I can't believe I'm just finishing on my fifth season, but
sure. What was the what I'm interested. What was the workout like?
it was a little bit more unique. Like we did a lot of basketball stuff, of course.
Sure.
Um, just like playing in general, a lot of drills, and then they did some drills of like
Like entertainment stuff, I'm sure.
entertainment stuff, but also like your ability to catch an alley oop. What kind of trick dunks could you do?
Uh,
Stuff like that.
Now, what's a typical season like as a Globetrotter with different with practices and games and like if I assume if you suit up for every game or if there's like where they send you, just how does that all work?
It's quite the production.
Sure.
Uh, like there's so many pieces involved because we've got like, so we have 30 players and it's split into 2 units so that we can play in
Oh,
LA and New York at the same time.
sure.
Uh, no one unit is better than the other. It's just divided so that we can be in multiple places. Season is over 100 games. So we we got kind of like a baseball schedule.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, we play a ton of games. We play internationally as well. So we'll play in Canada, we'll play in Europe, we'll play in like the Middle East, we'll play all over. So it's really fun to travel and see new places. And I'm almost at 50 states. I'm not at all 50 states just yet, but hopefully by the time I decide to retire from the Globetrotters, we'll have been to all 50 states.
Hmm. What states have you been to, if you know off the top of your head?
I need Hawaii. I
Yeah, I was gonna
need
guess like a Hawaii, Alaska, or those like too.
Alaska.
Okay.
Uh, Ironically, Maine. I haven't been to Maine.
Oh yeah, that's
And then the Dakotas, North and South Dakota.
okay.
And so it's just those. Other than that, I've been to every state.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome. So, going back a little bit, talk to me about finance and some of your companies and kind of like charities that you started or work through. We'll get to like actual charities. I got stuff and your like philanthropist work. But yeah, talk to me about finance.
So finance started with honestly, I got most of this credit I got to give to one of my best friends. His name is Derek Ansa.
Mhm.
He was my teammate in college, and he inspired me in a major way. We lived in the same building my first year at a Purchase, and every time I would see him in the building, he would be like in the like work like the private study room, always working on something. Like he was different from a lot of teammates that I've had in my sports career. In that way, like he whatever he was working on, he was really locked into.
Oh,
And one day I was walking past and I walked past the door and I could see him and then I was like, I'm just gonna go in and like figure out what the heck is he like working on. So I walked in and he willingly showed me like basically he works in the world of finance right now. And you know, I think he was working at Morgan Stanley at the time. But no, he was trying to get like a Morgan Stanley internship.
sure.
But he explained to me all of what, you know, his plan was and he pretty much brought all of that to fruition. So it was really cool to see, you know, how he brought that to life. And I think on a personal note, my experience as an athlete and just dealing with a bunch of these stigmas and hearing them throughout the course of my career, one of the things that always bothered me was that people said like athletes were one dimensional and
Yeah.
we the truth within that is that we don't really have an exit plan. A lot of guys get caught up in having to retire early due to injury or just not being able to play at the next level.
Mhm.
And so they don't know what to do next. So you know, I think that void and me being aware of that void in this space for so long is what inspired me along with Derek to create Finance, which is basically a program that prepares athletes for the next chapter or to transition out of their sport.
Okay.
So that's kind of how it started.
Mm.
And Derek and I would just meet about it. And then our school started. You ever seen the show Shark Tank?
Yeah.
So our school had a Shark Tank competition, and it was for the first time ever
Oh,
while I was a senior and Derek and I were working on finance. So I entered the competition and I pretty much I pitched this um, business model of finance to the panel of judges, and we won first place. So we won some money in funding, and we used it for like incorporation stuff and to get some other things started for finance. But in a nutshell, that is how it began.
if you want to talk about how you got into the art, kind of in the art world, and how you connected all that through sports. I know your activism was a big part in that as well, and kind of
Yeah,
where that started and took place. And were you like artistic growing up, and did you um like
yeah,
doing art, or did it just kind of happen?
yeah. I think that's really where the art started, to be honest.
Okay.
Growing up, maybe like third or fourth grade, I had a art teacher at Chapel School. Her name was Miss O'Connor, and she had a really heavy impact on my interest in art. And I just remember, I always recall this one activity that she had us do where basically we had to draw each other, and the feeling of having somebody express their perception of me and then me express my perception of them onto a piece of paper, and then seeing the feeling that it was able to produce when you gave it to them as a gift.
Yeah.
I really admired that feeling, and I was like, this is definitely something that I want to do more. And so there was one more activity where she had us draw whatever it meant to go to that school,
Right.
and she didn't tell us that it would be submitted for like yearbook cover selections, and
Sure.
somehow mine got selected, and I was able to like design the cover of the yearbook for the whole school. I think those two experiences in middle school really anchored my interest in creating art. Every time I could, I would draw. I still have my sketchbooks, and I can send you pictures of those as well.
Yeah,
So
sure. Thank you.
my middle school sketchbooks, and I used to draw like Dragon Ball Z and Yu-Gi-Oh.
Mm.
Even like manga was another big thing for me.
Okay.
So I think those things are what really kind of exercised my art muscle whenever I could because sports
Mm.
always took precedent to
Yeah,
the art when I was in middle school. And I couldn't quite figure out my schedule in a way where I gave myself enough time to just draw or to just paint. So my solution to that was once I got to high school, I'm like, every time there's an art class offered, I'm going to take it. So I took art class in high school every year that it was offered. And even in college, like I went to an art school, but I didn't major in art because I didn't want it to take, I didn't want the pressure to be so much that it took the love out of it for me. So I
sure.
majored in econ. But the art has always been there for me. And I think a lot of people, have who aren't as close have been surprised because I don't lead off with that,
Sure.
but it has always been there.
Take me through the inspiration for the Colin Kaepernick piece and the
Yeah.
Jackie Robinson baseball statue.
Yeah, so the Colin Kaepernick piece, uh
And more so kind of how you get the idea with your activism, know why you kind of chose like what you did, but kind of how you decided gonna go for like copper wire, whatever it was, for the Colin
gotcha.
Kaepernick piece. And then like the actual baseball is kind of like the three-dimensional
Right.
side for the Jackie Robinson statue.
So those pieces were all made for one specific collection of artwork, and I really use it to target the notion that athletes should not be involved in anything outside of their sport, which
Mhm.
is totally wrong because we're people first.
Yeah.
And as people first, we deal with a lot of real world issues,
Mhm.
just like people who are not playing sports. So we should have every right to speak about those issues and to, fight for change within those issues. So for me, when I think about two athletes who have done that at the largest level, I think of Muhammad Ali and I think of Colin Kaepernick because they both pretty much lost their sports careers in
Yeah.
similar fashions for similar reasons. So that's kind of why I chose those two athletes to put into one piece.
Okay.
I think on a like a mechanical or like a
Yeah.
systemic level, I wanted to make something that would kind of like attack the stigmas of athletes being one dimensional.
Mhm.
So I wanted to make something that was literally multi-dimensional. Like from one
Okay.
perspective, you see this, from another perspective.
Gotcha. Yeah, I saw a little video. I was going through your Instagram earlier for the Colin Kaepernick piece. Kind of looks, yeah, yeah, literally with how you have it, three-dimensional.
Right.
When you walk through it, different vantage points and views of it. Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that was just another way of me kind of like attacking those stigmas. And then same thing for the Jackie Robinson piece. I think I'm a pretty creative person, and so I just within my art, I want people to see
I like
things
the
that
color. I really like the colors in that piece. They're pretty pronounced and pop, and yeah, it looks really good.
thanks, bro.
For charities, when you had collected a bunch of clothes and kind of walked around with some friends and different public places, handing them out to some homeless or less fortunate people, and kind of just when that started and how you go about doing that, just just being a great person.
First of all, I appreciate the kind words, bro. I think most of that, wherever I get that from, comes from my parents,
Yeah, yeah.
like, and my grandparents as well. So their parents. When I think about, well, first of all, the clothing drive that I was doing for a little bit
Mhm.
really just came from like one day I was walking. I think I was walking back to the car with my family, and I was like, "Look at." We were coming from a play that my cousin had,
Okay.
and it was painfully cold outside, and I happened to like look to my left or something like that, and there was just somebody there, who didn't have a home and didn't have like a warm place to go. And I was like,
Yeah.
I can't believe like I was hurting so much walking to the car,
Mhm.
knowing that I had even just a car to get into that would be warmer to then take myself back to a roof. So I think just trying to empathize as much as I could, um, and put myself in that perspective, it was enough to literally turn me around after I got home and just get a bunch of clothes and like bring them to people. But
Mhm.
part of me also just feels like it's the right thing to do. I think like there's certain things that we can't control in our lives, and as a result, like sometimes it's just not fair. Like the circumstances that we're born into, like whatever you're born into is something that is totally out of your control. And I feel like as people who do have excess of a lot of stuff, as much as we think, like I'm not a rich person, and
Mhm.
most people are not rich, but in the grand scheme of things, we have an abundance of stuff.
Sure.
We have extra, like we have things that we don't necessarily need. And so when I think of it that way, I'm like sometimes I feel like it's foul of me to to not share that with people who could use it more than I could. So I think that's kind of just been my approach. And in regards to like the clothing, in regards to everything else and any other like charitable whatever's, I just think it's just important to be a nice person, because I feel like in turn, if like you can, if that can rub off from somebody
Mhm.
next to you, then your impact is gets further and further. And then also like eventually I want to have kids one day, and
Mhm.
like I want to be a reflection of the world that I want my kids to live in. Like I don't want to bring
Yeah.
kids to a crazy world. So
Mhm.
um I better start doing the work to at least make it a little bit better for when my kids get here.
Take me through when you had the Maxwell Pierce dunk package and 2K20 and how it was filming that and putting on like the ball suit and everything.
That was one of the coolest experiences, full circle moments that I've had,
Yeah.
because I grew up playing 2K. So sometimes, like you imagine like playing as yourself or
Mhm.
something like that. So I think to have, ironically, I don't even play 2K anymore, but um the opportunity to put my actual dunks in the game
Mhm.
and play with them or have my friends play with them, um, is a really cool thing. I think the studio that they had was probably the most surprising part. They had like 100 cameras in there, and they were all like these like $10,000 cameras that
Right.
were the technology was so that it
Mhm.
like picks up the sensors that are on your suit. So, like to see the kind of tech that they use for that. And then I also got to do the same thing for NBA Live.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they discontinued their game, but
Mhm.
like to get in the face scan
Yeah.
um thing, it's crazy. It was such a cool experience. And I'm glad that I captured that. Like I did, I
Yeah.
don't post
Yeah.
any YouTube videos, but I did post that on YouTube.
I did see that. Well, how was I'm sure it had to be fun. Just if you kind of feel bad for the guy, like you said, to like continuously dunk on and uh
Yeah. Yeah. He was really humble, and
Mm.
we're still really close. And he said to me, like, you should post it. So
That's cool. That's cool. Now, I'd like for you to rate your to rate these dunks, some of your most memorable dunks for me. So I'll read through them all first, and then I'll let you go, and then I kind of explain why. And if you have a different order, I'm sure some of them have a great story, and then just kind of maybe the dunk themselves. 'Cause I know I wouldn't blame you. Of course, I put the Kobe dunk number one too, and that's a good one. Kind of started it, but some of the other dunks just as cool. Now, first we have I think he did a couple variations of this. I call it the baseball dunk when you had the baseball mitt.
Yep. Yep.
You were you're catching the baseball and dunking at the same time. I saw a couple different ones of that. So we have that one. We have the dunk, the Kobe dunk that started it all. The the Shepherd dunk where you threw the alley oop, the
Oh
Jimmy
yeah,
Shepherd.
yeah, yeah.
That might be my favorite. And yeah, I don't even know how to explain it. You had your guy
Yep. I know
like
what you're
passed it
talking
through the legs and caught it
about.
without like looking there. What would you have? What's the name for that? Do you have a what's
I mean, like we kind of called it the faith dunk, but we also kind
okay?
of just wanted to let like the world name it.
Sure.
So um really there's not no no name for it.
Okay, I got you. So rate those dunks for me.
So I'm actually gonna say that I guess no name dunk,
Hmm.
it's gotta be number one for me.
Okay,
Um I've never I don't think I've seen a basketball clip go as viral. Um
agreed.
I think the amount of work and focus and the number of elements that had to be perfect in that dunk,
Mhm.
it's just so extensive. Like the timing of Rob's pass, the accuracy of Rob's pass, the
Yeah,
timing
where?
of my jump,
Mhm.
the hand placement for me, the reaction of when I feel the ball,
Yeah.
um, even the camera angle, because the ball does pass behind me and
Hmm.
it like hits my shoulder. But if like the camera is like too low, you don't see that. And if it's too high, then it looks
Exactly.
completely different. So everything down to the T was perfect about that video. And the reaction was genuine, like everything. So, um, for that to happen and like that video was like an honorable mention for an ESPY in
Yep.
2020. Um, they did a 2.5 minute segment on TNT with Shaq, Kenny, Chuck, and they like
Mhm.
argued about whether it was real or not.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I saw your thing when you're talking to
yeah,
you said that
like
thing about Chuck. Yeah.
I think those things, when I take all those into consideration, I think they trump any clip that I've created.
How many tries was that? How many attempts? Like how long was that in the making?
Oh gosh, it was hours. It was hours. I don't even know how many attempts, but um,
Do you have any like how many like close calls did you have where you're like
oh my goodness, we had about nine close calls. But the closest call, the camera had like my friend Jamal,
Mhm.
he was recording like this.
Oh.
So like he stopped right when you could see the ball get to the rim and he didn't keep going.
And is it did you get that? Did you get it?
No, luckily I missed. It
Oh,
like
okay,
hit
I was just say yeah, if that's the one you got, bro. Oh.
it was crazy. But yeah, even if that was the one that I got, like it wouldn't have been better than the one that we actually posted.
Mhm.
Because it was perfection. And I think that video, I just haven't really seen a basketball clip, especially that's not NBA related. I've
Mhm.
never seen a basketball clip get that kind of like reaction. And I think the last thing I would say about that one is that views wise, it's officially past the 2 billion view mark, like with a B. So
That's crazy.
it really just had such an overwhelming reaction. Dwight Howard wanted to do it in the NBA dunk contest with Jameer Nelson, and he ended up just tossing the whole idea. Um, Aaron Gordon said it was the best of all time. So yeah, there's a lot of notches for that, and that's why it'll always be number one. I think second though will be the Kobe one because
Sure.
it's started everything for me, and it got a Kobe reaction,
Yeah, that's
and it was just totally genuine. I think number is oh, number three is probably the one with the dog with Koa.
mhm.
Uh,
That's my favorite. That's my personal favorite.
That one was is really unique. Number four would probably be the baseball one, but
Mhm.
like with the behind the back catch.
Okay.
Um, and then five, what would my five be? Let's see. Sometimes I just gotta go back to because
No,
I
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of good ones.
uh
The milk crate one wasn't bad either.
oh yeah. Um I would probably say the first baseball one is my number five.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's yeah, that's such a crazy top five. Uh Now you had to feel like dude perfect doing those because I'm sure you with all the tries, it's how often do you get it's got to be like multiple times a day or at least once. How often do you get a dunk reposted or something that you reposted on whether it's like Bleacher
Um
Report, Sports Center, Overtime, blah blah blah.
um I mean it when I was like because I don't really post on social media that much anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
When I was, it was pretty frequent. I think what was most surprising is that like Sports Center has reposted that dunk with Rob and
Mhm.
like, I think 8 times now or 9 times now, and they typically don't recycle videos like that. So to have that be like a go-to video for
Yeah.
them, I think that's pretty special for Rob and I. Um, but I did one thing that I have been trying to do. I'm gonna find this for you. Is
Sure.
I try to keep them in folders, like
Okay.
different dunks that I've had or different viral clips, so just I can kind of keep track of how many times people have reposted it,
Okay.
uh, just to kind of see like some of the cool pages that have posted it. So like this one that we were just talking about here,
Hmm.
I don't know if you can see the
Oh
page that
yeah, MLB.
um so that was a pretty cool one. But then for the one with Rob and I, and this is going back to your point that you just so
That's
yeah, there's
awesome.
a lot of people, 87 saved posts in
Wow.
that. So I do try to save it just because it helps like when we're trying to track the numbers. I and one thing that I feel like people could make a lot of money on
Hmm.
if there is some kind of software that can track the total viewership of a video across all platforms,
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah, like
whoever
there's gotta be like some like just specific like video IP. And
exactly.
just kind of what's been going on recently, just in your life as a whole. And you said you're in Cincy now, and kind of like
Yeah.
how Maxwell Pierce, the person's doing, what's he been up to, and what he
Um,
does for fun too, like outside of basketball and art, just like what you're watching on Netflix.
Great question. So right now I'm in my office. Um, so I've this is where I make all of my artwork.
Okay.
Uh, my laptop is legitimately sitting on my newest piece of art. So you'll literally be the first to see. This is the Cleveland Summit.
Okay.
So in this photo, there's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Jim Brown, Muhammad
Yep.
Ali,
Bill
Bill Russell.
Russell.
There's a bunch of really prominent black athletes in
Yeah.
this photo, and um, so the anniversary. The let me see. This happened in 1967. So this would be the 56th anniversary of this event is on Sunday.
Okay.
So what I did was recreate it, but it's with basketball. It's cut up basketballs and cut up football. So there's no paint. Um,
Oh, there's no paint in that?
nope, it's no paint.
Wow. I know that's one of your like biggest things with art. It's not like anything I don't know, super traditional with like just
No,
drawing pens, pencils, or paint. It's always that's what I think I said earlier before I even saw it. Like your big thing as an artist, I don't know, you're like a texture artist is what I don't even know if that's a technical term. I don't really know art, but
I think that's an accurate way to describe it. So I go to Home Depot, I buy a piece of wood,
okay,
I sketch the whole thing first.
sure.
with a pencil, and then I get to cutting, and I use these scissors. I mean, this is just a piece for another piece that I'm working on.
Mhm.
I'll either use staples or a nail gun. I got my electric nail gun here, and I'll nail them in. And if I make a mistake, I just use this like nail remover or staple
Sure.
remover. Take it out, cut it, fix it, put it back. So yeah, there's no paint or ink on that piece. Um, and yeah, so I'm excited to, to share that. And there's also like the bottom of Reebok shoes that's attached to that piece as well.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, so again, I just try to be as creative as I can and use the materials. Because I always think that like sports, like especially basketball,
Mhm.
it's like art. It's
Oh yeah, very much
like
so.
dunking is definitely an art form.
Oh,
I mean, basketball in general is an art form, but especially dunking.
oh yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's pretty much like what my process for these pieces is. Um, but outside of that, I've just been I mean, I spend most of my time in here working on pieces. But outside of that, like living in Cincinnati has been a nice change because it's a little bit slower paced than New York. And
Slower pace than New York. What are you talking about?
it is.
Cincinnati's popping down compared to New York.
No, 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 no.
You are
Cincinnati,
in Ohio, sir.
right, right. um, but it's nice and the weather's good. And then I've been watching playoffs, so I'm just so happy. As a Miami Heat fan, I'm so happy that we're in the finals tonight.
What are you watching on Netflix, Hulu, Prime? What are
Netflix.
you watching right now, bro?
Um, what? Oh, I'm watching House of Cards.
Okay,
Uh, what else am I watching? Bel Air.
okay,
Um, I finished The Last of Us, the first season.
okay, sure.
Um, every now and then I'll rewatch The Office.
Mhm.
Um,
Where
just
do you
finished.
rank? Where do you rank The Office, Friends, and How I Met Your Mother? If you,
Oh man, so funny thing is I've never seen How I Met Your Mother.
that's my favorite. That's why I had to include that in there. Oh,
What about Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones. I'm yeah. I have not. I'm Game of Thrones
Honestly,
virgin.
I I uh I was that way like 3 months ago, so don't even
Okay.
don't even stress it. It's amazing though. It's incredible. Like it's one of the best shows I've ever seen. Like it competes with The Office. And I
Okay.
don't have any other show that competes with The Office. If Ozark was longer, I think
Yes, I
it
love
would.
the Ozark.
I loved Ozark. I'm so disappointed that like although it was 4 seasons, it wasn't enough for me.
Oh my God, I know.
Wasn't enough. Like the amount of times that I was just like was like it's such an incredible show, such a crazy show. I might have to restart that. And I don't know how like I know a lot of people that aren't fans of rewatching shows, and I'm just like because they know what happens, and I'm like, yeah, but still, like I like The Office is good enough for like I don't care that I know what's gonna happen because
Oh
it's
yeah, no, The Office. Yeah,
funny.
I'm really big on rewatching shows. I always do.
But yeah, bro, I appreciate you even considering me for this convo. And anytime you want to have another one, I'm down.